Good morning and welcome to Market of the Moment. It's so funny because I always think that 30-minute countdown is going to give me enough time to do the things that I need to do to make the post public, but I always seem to still have my phone in my hand when we go live. But now we're official. We're up and going. We're great. So happy Thursday. And it's funny, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see the post that I did about Market of the Moment. I'm like, our whole crew is here today, but we're missing Sharon. And so we almost our whole crew. Oh, wait. And there she is. Sharon's here. So our whole crew.
Hey guys. Happy Thursday.
Yes, happy Thursday. So yes, we have our whole crew back this week, and we are excited we should have that Reunited song going and the whole thing. But one way or another, we are still focusing on talking about coaching this month. So we are very excited to have Melissa Dierks, a partner in Remax Fine Properties and the owner of the Regal team at Remax Fine Properties. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
And we're going to be jumping in here in a little bit, talking about again coaching and some of the things that Melissa's involved with in the coaching world. We also have Miss Mindy Jones, the owner of the Amy Jones Group over at Keller Williams Integrity First. Good morning, Mindy.
Good morning, guys. Super excited to give you an update. I don't know I'm going to fulfill my weekly promise of having more inventory this week, though.
Ooh, everybody hang on, though, to find out. So, it's funny because there's a lot of things happening in the world, right, in our real estate world right now. So it'll be great to kind of talk about those as people are normalizing back to school and all that stuff. So looking forward to it. Thank you, Mindy. And then, so Mindy's a little iffy on whether or not she's going to get us more inventory this week, but we are really hopeful that Amber's going to help us with some really cheap money. So, and there's a lot going on there as well. And so Amber will be giving us the mortgage update later. But good morning, Amber, and welcome back. You were out last week, but we're happy to have you back.
Happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And we're looking forward to that update. So a lot of things happening in the world, and all the world things that can impact markets like this are definitely things we need to pay attention to. So we'll be looking forward to that update. And Miss Sharon Terhune, the Vice President Sales Manager for Fidelity National Title. Good morning, Sharon. Oh, you're muted. There's a lot of energy and excitement we can feel through the camera, but we can't hear it because you're muted.
I thought I hit the unmute. Oh, you know what? Did you feel my energy on that?
Oh my gosh, we saw it. There was like definitely body positioning.
I'm glad to be here and excited to hear what we have to talk today. And Amber was back, always there, and Mindy was tremendous, as always, in helping guide through all the conversations and the market updates too. So looking forward to it. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Okay. So this month we decided that we were going to focus on coaching, and and we've had some different aspects. We've had some different folks come in, talk about their coaching experiences, and people who do coaching as well, which has been a lot of fun. And Melissa is one of those people who wears multiple hats, right? So she has coaches, and she is somebody that does coaching as well. So Melissa, before we go down the coaching road, we'd love to hear a little bit about you and your journey, what you're doing, and what business is looking like for you these days.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you first and foremost. So business, oh my goodness. So the world of real estate right now is crazy, right? I think the last, 7 months, we've all been running with our pants on fire is how it feels like. I'm sure Mindy and everybody can attest to that. I also believe that, right now, we've got a little bit of some breathing room. I think we had a lot of people go on vacation in July and August. People are getting their kiddos back in school. So I think some of those first-time home buyers that we had, 25 offers are now maybe down to 5 offers. So, we've been able to help some of our entry level, I should say, our first-time homeowners or those wanting to get a second home. out a little bit more than previously. And then, of course, as far as business, I truly believe in coaching, right? I mean, I've coached with Tom Ferry for 10 years. I have just started Remax with a Remax coach to help on the business side because one of the new owners and partners within the company. So want to make sure that we give it our all, right? And of course, I coach other individuals here in the brokerage. And, you know, there is nothing more fulfilling than that. So I've been in the business and you guys have been a partner of mine for 11 years. And so thank you for that. It's a huge growth back at you, you know, and the tools that you surround yourself with is huge.
Yeah. And, you know, it's so funny because my own personal journey and, you know, I got coaching with Sharon. I mean, I meet with Sharon. We have a weekly meeting. We've got a monthly coaching meeting. And so, you know, it's always been part of my world at Fidelity. But it's funny, when I first started here, coming from a world that was very different than the real estate world, where you had bosses that told you what to do every day and where to plug things in and how to make things work. When I would sit in some of these rooms and I would hear how much money people were spending on coaches or how much coaches cost, it was hard for me to believe that people were spending this much money on coaching. I can't imagine being in this business and not spending that money now. You know, that how important that is. And so because you don't have that guy telling you at this time you have to hit this and you need to do that, you are, you know, so can you tell us a little bit about how, you know, the people that you coach, Melissa, what that looks like for them as far as the accountability piece, the mindset piece? There's a lot, right? So can you kind of give us some insight into that?
Absolutely. So I tend to be a little tough, right? I believe in tough love. I'm one of those coaches. I mean, I am in a coaching call at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. I do weekly coaching. And so, you know, for me, it's a stay focused, that accountability, right? Whenever you know that you have someone that you have to report to, so to speak, it can be challenging. It can be, oh my gosh, I better get this done or my booty's in trouble, right? Yeah. So the individuals that I coach, I try to give as much level of coaching as I get. And so as far as the brokerage, I send out motivationals. I send out videos about motivation. And then on the personal side, the one-on-one side, there are some that just need the monthly coaching. Some need the weekly. I've taken an individual this year who was at our 100% club, you know, 50 GCI. I've taken her all the way to platinum, which is 250 and above this year. You know, I mean, those types of things, when someone really follows the path of what you provide them, the lead generation, right? We want to talk about what are their systems and tools. That is number one. If you do not have systems and tools, you have nothing. So that's one of those that I hold people accountable to and say, listen, every person is different, right? I'm one of those individuals who on the screen, it has to be very reader friendly. If it's got itty bitty tiny boxes, this chick isn't going to do it. No way, no how. You know, but like follow-up boss is extremely easy for me. And so, you know, I tell people do demos, right? Do demos with different companies and find what best works for you. And then once you pick one, do it. So when that's done, you know, now you have a place to follow up. You have a place to do things. So when you can lead someone to that, and then you go through the lead generation sources, it is phenomenal when people really, and I'm sure Mindy can attest to this as well, is when people follow those systems, people follow those tools, and they truly listen, and they're on fire, and they're hungry, and they want it, and they're not afraid to work. Let's be honest, guys. This business is a working business. This is not, we're not eating bonbons on a couch, right? And expecting things just to come into us. You're working, right? And so for myself, I like to hold those people accountable. You miss 2 appointments with me and you haven't told me and given me a reason, we're done. So, because I do it for free. For our brokerage, I do it for free.
Well, and that's a really big piece, Melissa, that's, and it's so important that that's the way that works. And, Amber and Mindy, I know both of you guys are involved with coaches in all this, and like some people are paying thousands of dollars a month. I don't know what your individual situations are, but, thousands of dollars a month for a coach, but those coaches still fire people for not participating and doing the things, right?
And I think one thing I've had to learn as a leader, and it's a constant work in progress for me, and it's something that just sort of bleeds over into all parts of my life. I can't want something for somebody more than they want it for themselves. And that is a very hard lesson, especially for someone like me and probably most of you who really believes in investing in other people and believes that if you have a good perspective or you have a skill or you've achieved success, that you can pour that into other people and help really change lives. And when that's the place that you're coming from, it is hard not to get yourself in a situation where you really want it more for someone than they want it for themselves. And that won't ever work, because as an individual, you have to be gritty. You have to, there's going to be challenges, and you have to want to get up after them. And that's not something that someone else can want for you. They can be the support system when you fall. They can guide you through the ups and downs, especially like in an industry like real estate. But you have to have the want and the passion to get back up when those challenges come your way, or else you won't succeed, and I won't be able to get you there.
Yeah, Mindy, that's so well said. We say this, Don, how many times have we talked about this? Skill and will. Skill and will. You can teach people the skills, but you can't teach the will. And if they don't have the will there, you're right. You can't want it more than them. And I fall into that same category. I'll be honest with you. I do, as a coach, it's so hard not to want something so badly for someone, and that they have the ability to do it, they just don't. And that's the hardest part. For sure. Agreed.
Yeah.
Amber, you're.
Yeah, I pay $2,200 a month for coaching, and so it's a high level accountability when you are paying that much. So I think it's amazing that you're doing it for free. And I think sometimes those people that come to the coaching for free, they almost want it more because they don't have any of that skin in the game. So if they're continually showing up for you, it shows that they're not taking it for granted, that they really appreciate it. And it's such an incredible value add to have that within the brokerage right there for them. So pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amber, so and that's what, if you aren't doing the things that your coach is asking, right? They're collecting a nice check, right? That's $2,200 a month. And so they're collecting a nice check. If you're not doing the things though, do you get fired from your coaching plan?
Oh yes, and fine, and you still have to perform. There's still a waiting list to get into the coaching program, and so if you're not performing, if you don't want it, they'll go find someone else who does. Because I coach people too. I have loan officers, and I coach my realtor partners, and it's hard when you're coaching people and they just aren't doing it. Like they say they want to do it, but they don't do it. It's kind of deflating for the coach as well. So I think like surrounding yourself with people that are going to talk their walk helps you be a better coach as well. So I think it's awesome that you set those ground rules, and that's probably why you have seen such awesome progress.
Yeah, and I will tell you on top of that, right, I tell people all the time, if I can get up and be on a coaching call at 5 a.m., Monday through Friday, there is no excuse. I do have a rule though, I will say, because we are agents, right? We make our money selling homes. If it is production related, I will give them a pass and we reschedule, right? because I never want to interfere with someone's money for home.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you know, I think, and there has to be, right? Given the nature of our business and the things that we do, there has to be that piece. However, you know, the being on the path is still the most important thing that somebody needs to commit to. And whether, you know, they're making a financial commitment or a time commitment, both of these things have a high value, right? Because I can tell you, there's everybody on this screen who, you know, they're doing fairly well. Their time is worth a great deal of money. And it's not only just that part, right? It's the part that what else could they be doing, you know, when they're dedicating this time to somebody. This is time that they're not spending with their family and not spending with, you know, whether it's golfing or, you know, I know a lot of you guys talk about being professional bowlers and taking that up as no, not professional bowlers. Okay. I'm just making sure everybody's still paying attention. But, you know, it's taken away from the other things that you might want to be doing in your life. And so it's important that people are committed to it. So Melissa, if I were in your brokerage and I were an agent who says, I want coaching, and what qualifications would you be looking in me to know that I'm a good candidate to be a coach for you?
So the first thing that I do when we have someone new come into the brokerage, I offer them a 1 hour time with me so that we can formulate a business plan, right? I mean, people need to be taught how to do a business plan. What are your goals? Because once you know the goals, then you can assist in what they want to achieve. It's not my goals, right? I'm with Mindy. You know, we can't want it more than they do. And so when we can tailor those goals, then it is, okay, I meet with you. I see what your goals are. Your personality is going to tell me whether you want it or not. Is this a habit? You know, is it a hobby? Is it something just for family and friends? Is it something you want to make a career? I'm really wanting to help those who want to build this career, right? It is very important to know that. Once that's been established, then I ask them, what do you feel you need to be successful? And then I can offer it from there. But it all first starts with a business plan.
So we start off with a business plan. Mm-hmm. And then so there have been many people who tried to coach me in my life that found it quite challenging. And look at Sharon, but no. So in my pre-Fidelity days, where I really had a very closed mind to a lot of things, I was really sure that I was really good at the things I did and really didn't want to hear, you know, other ways to do things. And I mean, honestly, this was something that derailed me for many years of opportunities in my life of having that kind of a mindset. Mm-hmm. And so as I've grown, as I've learned, and I've seen so many amazing people and been surrounded by so many amazing people, I've learned that you can't take that approach, right? You have to have a different approach. So is there anything you do to ask the people that you are coaching to be prepared for coaching, for what it takes to ingest the feedback? Absolutely.
So one of the things, because I spent 20 years corporate before I started my career in real estate. And so I have always had mentors, right? Mm-hmm. So I let people know, listen, this isn't, if it is tough for you to hear constructive criticism, coaching will not be for you, because we are here to help you grow and help you learn and really take you to the level that you want to be. And with that comes constructive criticism. I'm never going to berate anybody. I'm never going to say, what in the world do you think you're doing? I'm going to challenge you to go outside those comfort zones and really take who you are as a person to that next level that you want to become. And sometimes it's being someone's cheerleader, right? And finding their passion. I spoke with someone who, she does a lot of charity work. So we tailored a lot of her coaching towards gaining clientele from that source of business. Everybody is unique. Every niche and who they want to be is different. So truly, when I look at coaching, I think of the person and how do we enhance who they are? Because one of the things that my first coach, Mary Jett, told me with Tom Ferry, I love her, is she told me, if you do right by the people, the money comes, period. And so I've always gone with that and told those that I coach personally the same thing, because I truly believe that, right? If you do right by the people, the money comes. And so, tailor what you like to do. I'm a, certified military residential specialist, and my son's in the military. Bob was in the military. And it's one of those things that, hey guys, I did this for you, right? It's one of the things that I'm very thankful that I'm a part of. So, tailoring those lead generation sources and giving back to them. There are little things that we can do. And I tell those that I coach, there are little things you can do that will provide your buyers, sellers, investors that they will never go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, everybody knows from, go ahead, Don.
No. I think what you're saying is so important that it really, it isn't. So when you go into a coaching program, and this is one of those hard lessons I've had to learn in my life, is that it's not about replicating me, right? If I'm the coach, I don't need Mindy to be Don, right? I don't need Amber to be Don. I need Mindy to be the best Mindy that she can be. And I need Amber to be the best Amber that she can be. And I should be about elevating them up, right? To who they are, not trying to recreate them and restructure them into somebody else.
100%. I believe that every fiber of my being. It is not about me, it's about you. And again, it's how can we build and grow you to the best of your ability, right? I send out, it's funny, there's a few videos that I have sent out to the brokerage, and one of them is from Motiversity. I always flub that up, but it's on YouTube, right? And it's beast mode, right? They're not going to work harder than I do. They're not going, and it's beast mode. It is a 7-minute video that I literally will play in my office, and man, you talk about pumped up. Right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm at it. It's beast mode time, right? So some of those are like, okay, I got that. They need that, adrenaline rush video. Then I send some of them where it's more, you can do this, more mellowed back, because every person is different.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm challenging, Don. You talk about, well, you and Sharon know this. I'm a strong D personality. And so when I first started coaching, I was firing coaches left and right. And I'll never forget, Tom called me himself. And this was back in the day before he was, beyond busy. And he goes, Melissa, this is Tom Ferry. And I said, yeah, right. I remember that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he laughed, and I'm like, and I literally said, holy crap. Okay, yeah. And he said, why are you firing all my coaches? And I said, have you looked at my assessment? I am a high D personality, and I will walk over people. And I hate to say that, but I can come up with 1,000 excuses. And he said, well, you're not going to walk over the one I'm going to put you with. And sure enough, it was his wife's best friend. And Mary just, we clicked so well, and she was able to hold me accountable to the point that, I made Remax Hall of Fame. My goal was within 5 years, and I made it in 4.5. And the only reason I did that was with her help and holding my feet to a torch.
Well, it's funny because we talked a little bit about some of the costs of coaching, whether it be time or money or whatever. And I think that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow as they're getting into this business. But when you're with the right people, right? When you're with the right people, that money is coming back to you, you know, and you know, and it's an investment in yourself. People pay to go to college. People pay for all these other trainings. You know, we see a lot of these other real estate trainings that are out there about all these systems and flips and wholesale stuff and all these things. People spend crazy amounts of money on those things. And the reality is that this is just somebody who's going to be your specific guide, your specific, you know, and again, they're not going to try to change you, hopefully, right? Because that's probably not the right coach if they're trying to change you.
Right.
They should be getting to know you. They should be figuring out who you are and how to incorporate that into the greatest version of what you want to do. And that's what I love. And that's what I'm hearing, Melissa. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like the question that you asked, Don, of Melissa. You said, what do you do to prepare people for coaching? And that's not really a perspective that I had thought of before. And I'd love if there's other perspectives too on that from Amber or Sharon, because that's a really important piece of it. I think if people aren't familiar with coaching, they may not know exactly what it is, what it entails, what would make them successful in it. And if we can better prepare people for that, you're going to have to set time aside potentially for some activities that you didn't anticipate to put into your day. You're going to have to work on being open-minded, and maybe you do that through a mindfulness practice or a podcast or something that puts you into the mindset. When you have the coaching calls, you want to be in a place where you can really commit the time and the mental space. Don't do it while you're driving, that kind of thing. I mean, every coach, I think, hopefully sets up those expectations at the beginning and helps them, the client, to understand. But I think as leaders, that is a really great conversation that we can have with people about how to get into the best headspace for coaching. I love that. That's a big takeaway for me from today.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna, sorry, Sharon, I know this, but I'm gonna actually give you a little kudo here. Something you've done that's helped me be in the mindset for coaching is reading books. Is like, I've never been the guy to sit and read all of these sales books. And on my desk is this big cutout and it's completely filled. And people come over and they're like, "Have you read all these books?" I'm like, "Yeah." and I'm like, but it's that was something that Sharon assigned to us early on my career at Fidelity. And now I'm like, people mention books, I'm writing them down, and I'm like, yeah, I'm usually audiobooking them, but I like to have the hard copies too. And so they look way better on the shelf than just having, you know, the audio versions. But no, it helps me to see so many other perspectives. And I think that is such a big piece. I'm sorry, Sharon, I know you were about to say something, but just wanted to give you a little.
No. I think it's awesome, Don, and that I was going to kind of incorporate some of that too, because we do pick up new books at least quarterly at our boot camps. We are trying something new out with our sales meetings every month, and this is kind of fun. I proposed a book to them. It's The Secrets of Selling, and it's literally the size of a Bible. It's like this big. It's ginormous. It's like 600 pages. All their faces went completely blank until I explained to them what we were going to do with this book, because every chapter is only about 6 to 7 pages long. So everyone's assigned a chapter, and they have to do, there it is, sales secrets. There we go. And they have to, did I lie? It's a big book. And they have a chapter that they basically report on and bring Cliff Notes every month. And we made everybody a Cliff Note book as well, because it's also about best practices and how they're utilizing that in their business. It's a very tactical way to attack a book instead of just reading a big book and remembering 1 or 2 things that you read throughout the book, or, you know. So it's very exciting. I also, you know, something that we're talking about here that I just love is just circling it all around is, I truly think you hear people say all the time, secrets to success. What's your secret to success? Truly, I think the secret to success is accountability. I mean, if you think about it, accountable people and successful people want to be accountable. They do. That's why they pay all this money for the coaches that we're talking about, $2,000. I know people paying $3,000, $5,000 a month for coaches, because they want to be accountable. Like Melissa wants to be highly accountable because she knows that's her success, and that's how it's going to get her to where she wants to go. Love this conversation. It's great. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And Amber, is there anything that you're doing to prepare your people? Because obviously you coach a lot of agents, you coach a lot of your own team. What does that look like when you're in that conversation to prepare them for coaching?
I think that, preparing them for coaching is just making sure, like, understanding why they want what they say they want. Because I feel like if I can really understand why they want it, and it's that whole, like, going deeper, like, if someone gives you an answer, it's never really the true answer, and just, like, expanding upon it so that I can remind them in preparing for coaching that, like, hey, like, we're working on this stuff because you have a goal in order to, put your kids through college or whatever it is, and just, like, tying it back in. So it's not just business related. It's not just, like, for my best interest. Like, we're doing this because you have this bigger goal, and reminding them of that, setting that up.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
I was just going to say, I love that. I really do. And I believe it. I will tell you, my coach did that to me, right? What is your why and what's going to get you there? And I will tell you, right above my computer screen, I've got Gary Vee's quote, and it literally says, work your face off, relentless drive. It's not going to happen unless you're willing to put in outrageous work ethic. Are you working your face off? And then I've got my goal right underneath it, right?
That's awesome.
And it's right above my screen. And so I tell the people that I coach, I'm like, listen, put that in a place that you see every day, because you have to know the reason why you're going to work your face off, right? And that's it, right? I agree with Mindy and Amber. I think anyone who truly coaches someone, you have to have a love for coaching and a love for people in order to really be successful at that.
I agree. And that's what we have a little reminder here. Wait, see if we can make it go. There we go. Work your face off.
No, I love that. I was like, that is such a good idea. I'm going to give that to my loan officers with their goal, because it's such a great quote, and just like questioning, right? Like reminding them, like, are you? Because that's really what it takes. You just got to outwork them.
Yeah. And Mindy, we both run teams, right? So, and Amber, one of the things that I ask my team, right, when they're not hitting their goals, I'm like, okay, so are you working full time? Are you working 8 hours a day? Are you truly putting in 40 hours a week? Because it's something that if you truly want to have goals, if this is truly your job or your career, you make that career at least 40 hours a week. And it amazes agents when I have them track their time and block time, how much, before coaching, they were like, oh my gosh, because let's be honest, we all have monkey brains, right? It's the next squirrel. Hello, right? Because we're social beings. And so if we don't have that clear timing in place, we're going to go to the next squirrel, the next monkey, the next, whatever. So then you have to remind yourself, okay, why am I doing that? That's why I have it right above my computer screen. It's right next to my door so that I'm reminded every day.
So question for those of you guys who coach. So all of you guys are coaching people on here. So do you guys ever take people through the pain, right? So like when I first started at Fidelity, I just remember seeing, we'd be in our sales meetings. I'd see the numbers of what people were doing as far as how much business they were bringing into the company. I was like, I want to be that, right? I want to be that. I want to beat that. And that was part of the thing. And some of these people, I'm like, they don't even make phone calls. People just call them and ask them for appointments. This is amazing. And I see the same thing translated into the real estate world where, a lot of people, they aren't out prospecting. They aren't out because they built this huge business. But what people miss is all the time, the energy, and all the things that took place to get that there. And I like to call it the pain, right? Like when you had to do the 80-hour weeks and you had to be, making the cold calls, and you had to be, and here I'm 7 years in and I'm closing a couple hundred deals a month, and I'm still making calls. So I don't know that it really ever gets to that point, but
I think that's actually a fallacy, and I just kind of go on record to say that. I talk with a lot of people who talk about their business being in a place where they don't have to lead generate or build their sphere or, make any kind of that outbound. People just come to them. And my challenging thought, although I don't always say it, is
You are now.
how big do you want your business to be?
Right.
Because depending on how big you are thinking, there always should be an element of growth to your business. And that can mean a bunch of different things to you, right? I come from a natural growth mindset. I am committed to constant evolution in my life, whether I want to be committed at that moment or not. And I think that a lot of times people inhibit themselves by thinking that their business can function and operate without that continued, generation of business. And unfortunately, I think they're setting themselves up for one, less of a career and more of a day job, right? Because it's just going to become this sort of routine and this box that you've now fit yourself into with no growth, no change, certainly no sustainability unless you have a very short-term model that you're planning on executing. Our team has been around for so long. Really, Amy started in real estate out here, early like 2007 kind of time frame. And so I've had enough time to see different models that we've employed here at the Amy Jones Group, different sizes, different number of people, different lead generation efforts. And a lot of the things that I hear people talk about is the same way that we talked at the early years of our business, where yes, we were doing so well and doing much more business than we had ever done. But there's no way that we would have been able to grow to where we're at today had we not implemented some of these other core components of our business. So I do think at some point you can be comfortable with certain sources of revenue. You can be comfortable that you've built a database. As long as you're actively nurturing it and growing it, you can ensure that you will get more ongoing business from that one lever. But if you don't have multiple levers, you're not able to respond to market changes. You're not able to respond to different types of competitors in the marketplace. And you're certainly not building a business that's sustainable, that will last a long time and continue to grow and evolve.
Well, and Mindy, I think that's so well put because, our market is ever changing. It changes all the time, which is why you're on here every week talking about the market of the moment and what's going on today. We have to pivot constantly. And you're right. It's no different whether you're a real estate agent, you're a title sales executive, you're a loan officer, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're in. You have to meld your business into what it is, because there's always new things coming into your business, whether it's the iBuyers that are buying houses or the, other title companies, whatever it is. There's always people out there, no offense, trying to get your clients, right? And so if you're not always on your game, and there is that aspect of having to keep the maintenance of people, happy that you have, there always has to be growth. There always has to be growth because life happens and things change every day. So very well said, Mindy, I agree. So
is that something that you talk to people as you're bringing them into this coaching? Like, look at that. This is like, so is my grind the exact same as it was 6 years ago when I was still, in the early stages of my business? It's not. I grind as hard. I just grind differently. And so is that part of the conversations that you have with people coaching about that, what that grind is going to look like in the beginning?
I know for the folks that I always tell them, I had someone kind of look at me odd and say, I've been in the business just as long as you, and I'm not where you are. I said, well, probably because you don't work the same way. Right? I mean, and this was someone I knew, and I knew their business. I know their work ethic. I know all of that. And I know it's because they don't put in an 80-hour work week like I do. But, I do let people know that the grind is there. Let's not kid ourselves. You have to work at this business. Unless it's a hobby, unless it's someone, I had a buyer's agent who was just like, Melissa, I adore you, but I have decided this up and down, the emotions of people, I'm not that person. And I thought this was going to be different. And so now honestly, I just want to go to family and friends. And I'm like, okay. So sometimes people get in and look at the business because they have a whole different perspective of what we do. And when they have that reality, there's decisions to be made, right?
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate this. What a great conversation this morning. And I appreciate all of the input and all of the feedback from everybody on here. So thank you guys for sharing this. And there's more. Mindy's got more.
And just how lucky the brokerage is to have Melissa, because to have someone with that kind of a mindset and really a dedication to the agents that are coming into her office from day one. There are so many agents that go through this career without ever getting connected to people who want to see them truly succeed. And you have the experience and you have the knowledge and you clearly have the passion to coach people. So they are just extremely lucky to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a passion of mine. Everybody who knows me knows that. It's to make changes in people's lives. We can't ask for any better.
Yeah, true.
I had a quick question. So I'll go faster on my rate update so we can ask another question to Melissa. I'm just curious, with all the coaching that you've done, and like for our listeners on here, if they don't have the ability to have someone like you in their life right now, is there something that you kind of see like across the board that you implement, a tactic or a system or strategy with your agents that you coach that you've seen the best results from?
I would say the business plan, really. I mean, sit down with someone. And by the way, if your brokerage isn't providing that, call me, right? I truly do mean that. I have given coaching to more than just my brokerage. And because I believe as in an industry, we have an obligation to help each other, right? I just do. And so one of the things that for myself, it is that business plan and knowing truly, what do you want? What do you want out of this business? Because after you have that, then I can open up a whole world of information to you. But I have to know at the core what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would also tell people that, if you are in an organization where you aren't provided that kind of coaching, or you're not, for whatever reason that is, that you've got a great group of people right here on this screen that all serve in some form of coaching, that are all open to those conversations. We're going to spend time in October doing business plans on here and walking through and what that means and practicing. But what I tell you right now is that you have Melissa. We love Melissa. Melissa's that kind of person that will take the phone call. They don't care. She doesn't care if you're in the West Valley or the East Valley or if you're on Pluto. She's going to take the call and she wants to help and see people succeed. Mindy is the exact same way. Mindy is, that she loves to see that growth. She loves to see that happen with people. And passionate about people is a great quality to have around you. Amber is, she coaches the agents that she's working with. She does a lot of that, and she is in core coaching herself and gets that all the time. Very much what the Fidelity sales team does is we work and coach with people. So, it is, you have a great team around you. So if you're looking for coaching, if you're thinking about coaching, you've seen the people who've been on the last couple of weeks. There are so many great opportunities and great people to reach out to. So, Melissa, thank you. And we really appreciate you and your time this morning. So.
Oh, my pleasure.
Absolutely. So, okay, now Amber, you left yourself 30 seconds. So no, no, you don't have to rush. We still have 16 minutes left. So I'm sure between our next two conversations, we can manage through that. So we are wanting to know what's happening with money. There's a lot of world events going on right now that definitely can impact these markets. So we would love to hear what you are seeing.
Yes, definitely. So we saw interest rates start to tick up a little bit, just pull back, normal pullback after such a strong rally and such a incredible, improvement in interest rates. And now we're really like range bound. We haven't seen them moving a whole lot. The Fed minutes were released yesterday, which is kind of like the recap of the most recent Fed meeting. And the market was like sitting on the edge of their seat because the traders are just like so concerned about when is the Fed going to announce tapering of the mortgage-backed security purchases. And the Fed minutes were boring. The bond market really didn't react very much, which is how it should have reacted. I don't think the Fed is willing to give really any insight into that right now, or not much at all, because they don't know. So much is still at play with the increases, unfortunately, in the COVID cases and the unemployment numbers just not being where we need them to be, not showing the strength in the economy. They're just not ready to start doing that. So until we start seeing those things turn around, we're likely going to keep these interest rates low. Like we're ranging right now in the high twos, low threes. As of right now, no expectation that they're going to shift really quickly. But if we start to see things improve, they want to start tapering. They just can't quite yet.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense, Amber, because like right now we're seeing, in the world news, we're seeing so many things, right, that are potentially destabilizing of governments and obviously some governments that have toppled here in the last week. But, those things all impact investors and the people that are potentially buying these bonds. And, and then we've got that with our COVID numbers and what's going on around that. And the vaccine conversations and all of these things. And right now, I think that we are all very hopeful that we just stay the course on what we have. I mean, it's good for consumers because of the monies. We have to worry about inflation as a result of some of these things. But at the same time, that if there were any big right turns or left turns, that could really be impactful.
Yeah, I don't think they want to rock the boat anymore right now. And in a fear-based market, that's going to benefit bonds, which is going to cause interest rates to go down. And then in a market where there's improvement and encouragement, that's where we're going to see money flow out of bonds and into stocks, causing interest rates to go up. So right now, it feels like definitely more fear-based, which is why I think we'll continue to see interest rates in the same range.
Yeah. Excellent. So, well, thank you, and we appreciate the update. And just one more quick question, because Mindy's like, now he's taking my time. No, no, but this is so on your approvals that you're getting out right now, the rate of acceptance, are you seeing an easier time for those people on those accepted applications? Are you seeing more of those getting into contract?
Yes. Yeah, okay. We're definitely seeing a higher success rate, which is amazing. It's still a lot of times the buyers that are a little more qualified, but we're definitely seeing an easier time. And I feel like just the buyers, as we're talking to them through the shopping process, they're seeing more homes that they like. They're not competing against 30 offers. They're maybe competing against like 5 offers. It feels more doable. There's definitely more excitement in them than there was months ago. Yeah. So that is amazing.
Excellent.
So Mindy, keep it up.
Yeah. No pressure at all, Mindy, as we over you. So
you take my time and you put on the pressure. I always stick around.
Love you.
No, it's good. This is all good. I mean, you guys know how I feel in my crusade to, eliminate words like cooling of the market and market dipping and things like that, because it just really doesn't accurately describe what's happening right now. We are, however, noting that there is less inventory on the market right now. So I think, one of the things we've been talking about over the last 6 months is the fact that we've been increasing our inventory. We've made quite a bit of a gain, especially compared to where we were kind of in the March, April timeframe, where we were about 75 to 80% less inventory than we had the year prior. And now we're only about 15 to 20% down from where we were year over year. However, we had started to see demand really start to wane over the last 3 months. As interest rates had risen, somewhere around 30 to 35% annually. That's kind of what causes some sticker shock for people. And then there's certainly all of the buyers who had some fatigue around not being able to get their offers accepted, and I kind of just decided to pull back from the market. And same with our sellers too. I mean, really just a high stress environment for them to sell in, even though very profitable. So I think we just had kind of this freeze, if you will. I think when buyers have some fear and sellers have some fear, you just get a little bit of inactivity. And, you know, the summer has, you know, come and waned, and kids are back in school. And I think this was the first year that we really saw some true seasonality, as people did, as Melissa mentioned, actually go on vacation, and kids got prepped to go back to school in person. And I do think that, you know, we've started to see a bit of a shift over the last couple of weeks in our demand. So hopefully, as real estate professionals are out talking to clients, letting them know that it might actually be the most easy to navigate time in the market that we've seen all year, with the benefit of all of the increase in pricing for our sellers that were gained in the first 9 months of the year. And, you know, for our buyers, that now that they have more options to choose from, and that we have gotten lucky, and those interest rates, although not always for the best reasons, but have stayed very low. So they haven't missed out on an opportunity. They haven't missed their time to get into the market. You know, we had about 6,800 listings on the market last month. So if you kind of compare that, that's over about 4,700 in May. So again, a significant bump up. Still down from about 8,000 year over year, and down certainly from about 14,000 the year prior. So much of this is about perspective. This morning, we're sitting at about 6,700 listings. So we have actually gone down month over month, which is a reversal in trend from what we've been experiencing over the last few months. We're starting to see investors really gain some ground in the market, and it's not just those large investors. In fact, I think probably people would be surprised to know that Zillow only purchased 156 homes last month. Now, remember, we're selling 10, 11, 12,000 homes a month, but I think people see lots of marketing dollars being spent in an attempt to gain market share for other purposes here in the Valley. And so because of that, I think that they think some of these companies play a much bigger role than they actually do in the real estate space. But most people prefer to go with a local expert who knows how to navigate the market, and really is not only focused on one piece of the transaction, the buy or the sell, but is focused on helping clients achieve their goals and ensure that it's a seamless process from them as they move from one house to another. We're seeing lots of individual investors really pick up the pace, which is really nice to see. Those are obviously all the people building generational wealth for themselves and their families through real estate. You know, they're able to get their expenses covered and sometimes cash flow immediately as soon as they get into a rental property, even those who are mortgaging and not doing all cash purchases. So it's become something that, you know, I think for me, what I've noticed is a need for education around some of these financial benefits of having equity in your home, because I think many people just have never been in a position where they had anything like that before. And many of them didn't grow up in families who were landlord. You know, I didn't grow up in a family of, we had rental properties or that's not the environment that I grew up in. And so if you don't grow up in that kind of environment and you've never actually had an equity position that would allow you to do something like that, you may not be really educated about what options you've had. So I've noticed a need for us to educate our clients around what to do when you have some extra money that you can pull out of or leverage in your home. So, you know, they are still projecting that most cities in the Valley will be closer to a balanced market by the end of the year, and some a little bit before that. Remember that prices do not fall in a balanced market. It simply means you're getting closer to a place where you have one house for every buyer, as opposed to, you know, 5 or 6 or even 10 buyers per house. It'll be interesting to see what happens the next couple of weeks. I think certainly if the interest rates remain low and buyer demand continues to pick up as it has over the last couple of weeks, I expect that end September and definitely October are going to be very busy months for buying and selling real estate in Arizona. And then again, just a reminder that it is we're getting very close to the market conditions that we were experiencing in the 6 months prior to COVID. And it was a wonderful market. Buyers were able to have choices. Sellers were selling for higher than their neighbor down the street. there is no reason that people should feel like they've missed an opportunity or they're not going to be able to take advantage of the market. We are in not uncharted territory, which is another thing that I think is really important to talk about. Up until the last few months, it's really been this idea of, we've never experienced a market like this before. It's nothing like what happened during the crash, right? So we've been really talking about comparing the markets and making sure people understand this is different. But there was always some sense of uncertainty, if you will, just because even though we could follow the numbers, we haven't ever experienced anything like what we experienced early in the year. Whereas the market that we're in right now, we have experienced before. We haven't had these kind of interest rates to pair with it, but we've had this kind of inventory levels. We've had this level of buyer demand. We've experienced these market conditions before. These are not new and these are not scary. So I actually think that this is a really wonderful time for people to be going out and helping people take advantage of the real estate market. There's a lot of good to be done out there for sure.
Mindy, I think you said the key word, educate, right? I mean,
Yes.
I'm sure Amber educates everybody on the mortgage side with what the market's going on out there and what it takes to gain a loan. And Mindy, oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that up. I say that all the time too.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, I think sometimes we expect our clients to have some type of natural knowledge about buying and selling real estate, especially our more affluent clients. You know, we walk into their home, it's like, oh, they have a really big, expensive house. They must really know what they're doing, but they're not real estate agents by trade. They have their own profession. And so there's going to be information that we can help and guide them through, and education that we can provide to them that they don't know. I even come across this with small local builders. They're proficient in their specific piece of the market, but that doesn't mean that they understand how all market conditions work. And it doesn't mean that they understand what the messaging is that we're sharing, especially in the residential space. So I do think that education is really important. And I do think the more that we can do of that, the greater impact we can actually make in what buyers and sellers are doing in our market. Because if we leave them to national news media 6 months behind the 8 ball, they are not going to be able to take advantage of the environment today.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Okay, so I got one more question in closing for Mindy, Amber, and Melissa, and that's what. So you know, we've talked a lot over the last few months about people on the shelf, right? People who've gone back on the shelf because they're like, I can't buy, I can't compete, I can't, right? So all of these variables that have stopped them. Have you guys seen these buyers who are approved but just either buyer fatigue or just general frustration that is put them on the sidelines? Have you guys seen many of these folks coming off?
Oh, for sure. I can think of probably 3 people that my team has gotten under contract in the past week that would fall into that category. We redid their pre-quals, had to get them kind of mentally back in the game. But I was just talking with the office this morning, because we do our market updates here in the mornings on Thursday as well. And I said, if you're trying to reach out to someone and tell them the story and they're not listening, restart their portal and send them a link to active listings that meet their search criteria. Because I kid you not, months ago, it would be like, here's 3 to 5 options that that meet the criteria that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Those same people have anywhere between 50 and 75 houses in the exact same portal.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, I call it a regroup. I'm like, guys, we need to regroup with those individuals, get them in the office and get them re-engaged, right? Put their search up on the screen and make sure that you have everything appropriate that they're wanting, and get them re-engaged and excited again. I think that's what's happened is, they do have that fatigue, and now to get them re-engaged because now they see that there's more available, huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Amber, you seeing pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much. And I was just, talking to my team about calling anyone we know that got out of the market and decided to rent because it just got too hard, and make sure that they know what's going on, that inventory is increasing, that there might be more of a chance. Do we want to look at numbers and potentially get back out in the market? And I know that might require breaking of a lease, but because of where interest rates are at, it could definitely make sense to do it now rather than wait a year and potentially be paying higher prices and higher rates.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, ladies, thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of your morning, and thank you for being on here. Such great information, such a great conversation. We are so grateful that you all take the time to join us. So we're looking forward to seeing what's coming next. And Melissa, you are tagged on the Facebook page, so if anybody needs to reach out to you, they can reach out to you directly through there. And then Amber, Mindy, I know Amber, you're going to be not here next week, but Mindy will have you back, and Sharon, of course, you'll be here as well. I know you got a vacation coming up sometime, but we're hoping to hold you off for a little bit on that. And then we're also being joined next week by Christy Jenks. She's also a Tom Ferry coach, and with the Big Helper team. So we are excited to welcome Christy next week also. So thank you guys, and we will see everybody soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.